All right. All right, guys. Hope everyone's having a wicked day. I'm gonna get going here just in a second. Uh, oop, too far. Okay. All right. Just give it 2 more minutes and we'll get rocking here, guys. That'll allow a few more people to come in.
Hey Jay, how's it going, man?
Not too bad. How are you, my man?
Oh, doing good, doing good. Just out here working and grinding.
Yeah, yeah. I hear you. I hear you.
Hey, I was just gonna say, since we got a couple minutes of silence here, um,
Yeah.
the last time I was able to hop on, and I had mentioned a client who had mentioned going cheap and everything. I talked myself out of some head trash and ended up selling the job for a higher price than what I expected. Um,
Hmm.
Went and handled her project, knocked it out of the park. She's super happy with it. And she's got me coming back for quoting a lot more um, a lot more work that's far more valuable profit wise. So it kind of reinforces the idea of not letting that head trash tear you down and giving discounts out, because who knows where I would have been, had I let that happen. So
Yeah, it's interesting you brought that up because again, based on our call that we had, this is actually what this training's about. Is like how do you not get into those emotional slides, right? How do we, give ourselves the best opportunity in front of customers? And again, you hit a certain point in your business where you start to depend more on your offer, and especially as you start to scale. So like imagine someone else selling on your behalf, right? You've got to have a really strong offer, and I think most contractors really, they really fall down here, right? Is not getting how to scale their business beyond them, and just like you said, like how not to get sucked into the sales side of it, and not have to fight for every job you get.
yeah, absolutely. And that's I'm glad, because that's something I'm still trying to wrap my head around, is the concept of the offer, like how, especially in the terms of how you use the term the
Yeah.
offer.
Well, we're
Because
gonna
I
we're we're gonna go through it today, my man. I'm gonna give
awesome.
you the exact formula that tends to work across the board. So, we
Cool.
won't give too much more away. Let's get going. So, welcome everyone. Glad to have you here this week. Hopefully, this is super helpful. Once again, I want to try and remind everybody here to take some action today. Okay, I purposely leave this to take action. Nothing is worth sitting an hour through if we're not willing to actually put some effort forward and get some results. Okay, so I encourage everyone to think about how they're going to take action on some of these things that I'm going to bring up today, so that we can really feel good about the time we spent here. All right, so our topic today is how we're going to create an offer so good clients can't say no. All right. So first thing is more details, more options, more jobs. Well, not really. Okay, we have to have better options. So I think a lot of us sometimes when I'm talking about good, better, best and giving some terms, we immediately got in our head, and I don't know if he's on today. But we had a guy on last week that was doing a 150 page presentation,
Yeah, that would
right?
be
For
me.
Jacob, I had you in mind when I was doing this. Okay, so I think that I
I
wanted to make some
appreciate
things
you.
more clear. Is that we a the art of taking something complex and making it simple, all right, is how you scale a business. All right. There's a very good saying, and I follow it. And whenever I'm looking at marketing material or building proposals or helping somebody with their sales, it always comes back to this simple formula, right? Is that simple scales, complicated fails. All right. And again, a lot of times we misunderstand what our goal is with these proposals and your offer in general, and we leave our customers very confused. All right. So again, I don't want to make this seem like we've got a lot of options. We want to have a few options that make sense for a customer to actually buy, right? And this is the art of the offer here. So homeowners actually just want clarity, not confusion. Okay. So the most important thing for us to be able to provide for our customer, okay, is clarity, right? They need to very much understand immediately what they're getting, what they're not getting. All right. And the best example of this is if somebody can look at your proposal, all right, without ever meeting you and sign it back, all right, and go ahead with a large scale job without ever, seeing your face or hearing you on the phone, you've got something good. Okay. We've had 150, $200,000 deals just signed back. All right. So again, when we create that clarity, what tends to happen is people are already prepared to buy. Some, more so than others. We've had, just this week alone, I've had two offers sent back. We've never even went out to a sales call for. Okay. So, but it's not me, all right. It's not my salespeople skills there. All right. It's literally how we set up our offer and how much clarity our customer had. All right. And obviously some trust and reputation and stuff goes into that, right? But more importantly, why do clients stall, right? It's not just price. We need to think about it. I think that was the common objection I was hearing last week. We need to think about it. Unclear outcomes, unclear process, fear of surprise. Okay, especially as we get into lower brackets, when we get into the middle class. All right, they're a lot harder to persuade. They need a lot more security and clarity to make these bigger decisions. Okay. If your offer feels risky, they delay. So if it feels safe, they decide. All right. So again, safety is a big thing when we're talking about sales, especially when it comes to home services in that middle market. All right. We want to lean more on the safety, the clarity, risk reversals, things like that are going to help your customer feel like it would be stupid for them not to go forward with your offer. All right. And again, that's a sign of having your ducks in a row on this thing. So clarity, trust, all right, risk, and then the next steps. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this last week, but we'll continue on the conversation, right? So a lot of what I'm going to be showing you today is how we do one call close. Okay, out of curiosity, and maybe you can throw one in the chat for me. How many of you guys here are capable of doing what we call a one call close? You're showing up, meeting with the customer, and closing deals on the spot. How many of you have that ability currently? One call close. Who are my one call close guys here? I have it, but it's rare. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So again, and this is like no, I'll say it like this. Especially nowadays, we have to really be focused on the efficiency that we're working at. All right. Not only in qualifying customers, but when we get out in front of them and we have that opportunity to actually close face to face, all right, that's our highest odds of getting a yes. All right, if that's the type of sale, or over Zoom. Again, I'm a true salesperson, so like I want to be able to interact with my customer. I want to be able to read their body language. I want to be able to understand what their actual needs are. All right, but I also have a process that goes beyond just me opening my mouth. It's how I'm going to present. All right, how am I going to build my sales process into my proposal? Okay, these are all things that we consider about an offer. And just before I go any bit further, I just, for clarity as well, an offer is a specific problem you solve a specific way for a specific person. Okay, so before we get too much further along here, I want you guys to really think about what that means. All right, a specific problem, specific person, a specific way. How many of you guys are out there right now selling services? How many can actually say like, hey, I don't have a specific person. You can't imagine that person in your mind right now. Right? So my specific person happens to be high net worth income, living in a house over 1.5 million. All right. They wear name brand clothes. They drive, luxury brand cars. They are nearing retirement between 45 and 65. All right. They live in certain subdivisions and communities that we're aware of. All right. And I don't do business with anybody outside of that specific person. All right. My offer is not built for other consumers, and I don't need to change because there's so many of them. Okay. And the specific problem I solve is a lifetime roof, high value, high return. Right. Most of my clients are investors or have achieved a higher position in life. They understand the value of money. Right. That's a topic that comes up. A lot of them are also nearing retirement and are afraid of having to replace a roof again in their retirement. Okay. And they have certain characteristics. Now, again, it's easier to wrap my offer around that specific group. Now, if somebody's coming in, maybe a new family, all right, just starting out and wants a metal roof, I don't even waste my time. I politely say, hey, listen, I want you to know before we even, continue any further, we're about 4 times the price of a regular shingle roof. It's not unusual for our roofs to be $100,000 when you were expecting 25. Are you sure you want to continue with this process? Usually answer 99% of the time is no. And that's okay. All right. But again, tie this to your own situation. Okay. Are you guys very clear on the specific problem you're solving for who? All right. And what way are you doing it? Okay. Mine happens to be peace of mind, speed, and convenience. All right. When somebody agrees to move forward with us, I am removing all the stress and worry that they would have about getting this kind of project done. From start to finish, I hold their hand. It's a white glove service. Again, and I can go through the whole details of it, but like it's very, very specific. Okay. And we've thought about the whole experience that we want to be able to portray to our customer. And every part of our marketing, everything that we do, our sales material, everything, our proposals, all speak to that one person. Okay. We've done it so many times that we know like every sentence of everything that we're doing is intentional. Okay. So on the spot yeses become outcome. All right. What is the outcome that they're looking for? All right. How do we provide certainty? Right. How do we do this fast in terms of speed? Okay. We only have a very small window, especially if you're dealing with a higher level, higher class. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'll retract that. You can have the same kind of speed in the middle market. All right. It just tends to be in the middle class. They make decisions a little bit slower. All right. You should still be able to close 30% of the time. All right. And focusing on speed. Speed is very, very important these days. Okay. How many of you guys bought something from Amazon this month? Out of curiosity, or last month? Give me a one in the chat if you've bought something from Amazon lately. All right. Okay. So what did Amazon do differently than any other retailer? What do they do differently? What do they allow you? Speed, convenience. Okay. Inadvertently, everything around us is speeding up. All right. We're able to now order things on the internet and they're there the next day. Grandma's using Amazon. Do you think that's changing the way that consumers expect you to behave and perform? Absolutely. So if you're not creating speed, meaning the speed of which you get these proposals and have that discussion, all right, to them, you're going to violate. The next thing is they don't really feel safe with your service. They don't feel safe with working with you. All right. You're showing up 4 or 5 days after they made the request. I'm sorry to tell you, those days are over. Okay. People now see that as a red flag. You must be too busy. Okay. Or you're coming in and all you're doing is being the price comparable one to the guy that did show up first. Okay. So again, why is speed and convenience a part of my, specific problem I solve? Because the people that I work for, they expect it at a higher level. Not only speed and convenience, but they want their hand held and they want safety. They want to know that they have nothing to worry about when they're putting this money out. And that's what we do provide. That's why we stand out. Okay. So again, let's talk about the steps if you haven't got a specific problem that you solve a specific way for a specific person yet. All right. A big part of this is understanding what is your flagship specialty. And okay, and if you're a general contractor, you can still have this. All right. So again, what is the things that you are best known for? All right. Is it, renovations under 200,000? Is it renovations over 200,000? Is it, what is the job that you perform the best? Okay. We want to really pick it. So we're looking at margins, smoothness, ops, easiest to prove. Okay. If you can decide your flagship offer, all right, we're going to lead with that. All right. It's okay to have other things that you offer or that you are capable of doing. All right. But we have to have something that is very, very clear to the market to understand, because people are looking for specialists. All right. Even in a general contractor, they'll look for specialists. Do you do very high end work? Are you more in the middle market? Like, these are the things visually people make decisions on very quickly. Is
Is
this the
saving
company for
people
me?
money? Is saving people money
Yeah.
could be a thing?
There's absolutely a market for that, but you gotta decide something in terms of, saving people money. All right. Is that really what they want? Is that really at the core? Is that what you want? Is that what you think they want?
No, we don't want to be
Right.
known for that, but it is a good thing that we do for clients.
Okay, so I've been in this business a very long time, worked with thousands of contractors. I can easily tell you, all right, whenever I hear that comment, I'm not picking on you in any sort of way, all right? It
Okay, if you
typically
are.
means it typically means that we're self-sabotaging. Okay, and I know we kind of touched on this the last time, but if you had a certain upbringing, and I think I shared with you last time as well, I grew up broke, like poor, right? My dad did everything. He fixed everything, did a half-ass job. We never had a single contractor do anything at our house. All right. And I grew up with that in my head, that that's what you're supposed to do. To this day, all right, whenever something needs to be done at my house, my first instinct, all right, is to do it myself. Is to start. I needed a new kitchen, and I'm going to do it no, right? The bottom line is that, like, that's still in my mentality. All right. And what that does to you in sales, and what I had to learn, all right, is to understand that there was a family across the road from you in the same class, same, money, if that was a thing, right? Your kids went to the same school, that used a contractor for everything. And that was acceptable. And that might be the person you're having the same discussion with, right? How would that change your belief in if your price is fair or not, or whether you had to offer, fair
Our
pricing?
prices,
How would that
oh,
change it?
sorry. Our prices are price, but how we save people money is that they only have a certain budget, we'll go cheaper on the faucets or cheaper on the hardware or cheaper on a
Sure.
certain thing. Our 40% margin doesn't change. Nothing changes. The price is the price,
Okay.
but we work with
So
people
then,
so they can meet their
so
budget.
you, yeah, so but you're not actually saving them money. You're giving them options.
Yeah, that's why your good, better, best
Right.
approach fits us so well.
Right. Okay. So that's a little different. So, but again, when we're selling that, all right, and this is where we're gonna expand that, right? So a lot of times what ends up happening, all right, is people, when given three options or given five options, okay, without the clarity of, like, just being able to decipher what they're getting and the value that you're building for them, all right, a lot of times it'll slide into that conversation of what can I save? All right, when it should be about, what can you live without,
Well,
right?
that's what I say.
If
That's
we're
what I say.
talking about the good. Yeah,
Yeah, if we say, what do you want me to take off the estimate that we don't do?
right,
That's the only way
right.
to truly save.
Gotcha. So again, in terms of your flagship, what would you say your flagship is? What is it that people know you for?
I got no idea. Our customer service, I mean, that's our customer service stands out among a lot of
Okay.
people. That's what everybody says. Like we've had the best customer service of any contractor they've ever hired.
Okay. All right. So now let's think about how we can create this offer now where people are saying yes immediately. All right. Do people buy services, or do they buy outcome?
They buy outcomes,
They buy outcomes. That's right. All right. Are people interested in the features, or are they interested in the benefits?
benefits.
100%. Now, I want you guys to take a deep, hard look at what you guys are doing. All right. Are we offering services and features, or are we, offering an outcome and benefits? Big difference. Okay. So when I talk about a feature, that's, a, a sink with all these functions. All right. It can, do a whole bunch of things. I don't know. Really good sink. All right. I heard somebody tell me $25,000 for a sink this week. I almost died. I was like, are you kidding me? Somebody actually bought a $25,000 sink. I was like, whoa, okay. It would have to do a lot for me to spend 25 grand at no matter where I was in life. But now did that get sold because of the features of it, or were people more sold on the outcome that they wanted?
The
Pretty
outcome.
easy there. The outcome, right? So when we think about our scope, all right, too often what I see the most of is guys are pitching features, are pitching, terminology and words and, really focusing on like what they're going to do for the client. And they're not really focusing on what is going to be the result of me doing these things. What's the outcome that you're going to get? And it's that slight shift right there that will, immediately start to change how people are reacting and responding to your quotes, to your presentation. Is I don't ever go in and be like, hey, I have this 26 gauge roof. It does this for you. Like, that's a waste of time. That's a waste of time. I tell them just very simply, this will be the last roof you ever install on your home. Is that something that you're interested in getting done? You'll never have to worry about this roof again. It's, one of the best long-term investments. It's the only thing that's going to return any sort of, financial return for you, right? They want that outcome. Okay. They are looking for the results, not materials. All right. And they want a promise that goes with that. All right. So again, what promises are we making? And how can we, how can they be sure that our promises will be kept? Okay. So again, an opportunity to put these things into your proposal. All right. We want to have a clear finish line, a timeline that's included, what's not included. And you want to have your reviews, your social proof. Again, so I don't end up in the position as a salesperson telling my customer, you can trust me. Or don't worry, I do great work. Anybody done that? Hey, I do top quality work, and just goes on about the quality and the customer service they can provide. Nobody cares. And by the way, I hate to break it to you in case you're not sure yet, but like when you go in and you say you do quality work, you sound like a bozo. All right, because everyone coming in behind you are saying the same thing. You think anybody has gone into that home and said, hey, I'm going to do half-ass work. I'm going to do it semi-par, like mediocre at best, and I'm probably going to steal your deposit. I don't think anyone's saying that. Okay, so don't try to be compared to the next person. If you want to be compared on price, that's how you do it. Okay, never ever. You have to have something that's unique that other guys aren't offering to their customer. You have to have a unique outcome that they want, and it's very easy in general because most guys are out there making these mistakes. Even bigger companies, we see it all the time, right? So now we get to how we package our offer. Okay, so again, it's if you want to do this at a high level, we have to really think about the packaging that goes into our offer in any situation, in any proposal for anybody that you are going to take time to do business with. You better be sure of how that looks, how that feels, okay, and how easily it is to use to make a decision. Okay, so again, I'll use these terms: good, better, best. That's really just a sales system that we like to use. You can have 4 or 5 options. There's lots of ways you can restate this. I'm just trying to make this really clear. All right. Right. But when we're saying the essential package, that's the good enough. That gets you by. Okay. That's meant for the middle class or the price sensitive customer. All right. That allows you to set the price of the market. So anybody coming in with a single price, a single option that's in that range of good, immediately you've disqualified them. All right. Because who here on this call is okay with just good? If you had the option of good, better, or best, would you be okay with just good?
Depends on my
Maybe
budget.
some of you, right? Well, again, money aside for a second. All right. If you had to put yourself in a situation where you had the option, All right. We're trained to do these things, by the way. Like this isn't new stuff. All right. It's been going on for a long time, and people are programmed to look at those things and consider them. All right. Now, what contractors really miss the ball on is that packaging and presentation. It should be so obvious. All right. Even without reading it, all right, that better or the best is their best option if they have the money. If they don't, cool. All right. At least we're still talking about the good option, the thing that gets them by. All right. And that's still a sale. Okay. We still have to treat that sale, and we have to look at behavior and habits of that customer that's going to go for that good. But
Can
I'll
I
be
give a
honest
quick
with you.
question on this? It's on this topic, I
Sure.
promise. So
Yeah.
we're thinking about a big deal for especially our market here in El Paso is mixing it up. When we get to the estimate, we're showing them all the options for all three, and they can focus their money more on the shower and less on the vanity. They can mix and match the good, better, best.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, think of each division of your offer as being an opportunity to do this, right? That what we're discussing there is called menu pricing, and I encourage it. All right, as long as it's clear. All right, so as long as you have clarity, and that's where a lot of guys get this mixed up, is like, offering more options is actually going to slow down the process. Okay, so I say it like this: I'm actually going to give you the same outcome across good, better, but you're going to get the same. You're going to get a roof that's going to last forever. Right? You're going to get a roof that's going to last forever. Well, what's the difference between good, better, best? Well, all right. When we're talking about good, we're gonna remove some things from that package. We're gonna reduce the warranty. We're gonna do a couple of things, but you're still gonna get a metal roof. All right? Technically, that's a lifetime roof, 40 years. Okay. All right. I might not remove the shingles. We're gonna take some things, but the outcome's the same. You're getting a metal roof. All right. It's a forever metal roof. All right. Now I'm going to take it to the next step. But you could also have the metal roof that's going to last forever that looks really good. All right. That really looks better than any of the other metal roofs on your street that we've probably installed, right? There's that person that wants a little bit better. Okay. We're also going to, again, we've got a couple of things that we add to that, accents and, color options. They can get a matte looking roof. All right. Before they just got the standard colors. They're shiny, they're sheeny. Like, again, a metal roof lasts forever. All right. But the better option gives you a matte color, a more, a more modern looking, metal roof, and it's more attractive. The seams look better. Okay. And then our best, again, this is all out. This is going to give you all the bells and whistles, everything else that you could ever imagine with a metal roof. Okay. And I'm just using this as an example, but again, when I'm presenting that, or when we're presenting that, all right, all we have to do is literally watch the customer's behavior. Okay. So I'll give you a very good example of this. You know how we know which offer they're leaning towards? Okay. One of the easiest tricks anyone here can pull. All right. We have three options. We have three samples that we hand them before we even start a conversation. Right. They're usually picking them up, or they have them in their hand. All right. The second the one that's the best goes down and they stop looking at it, we know. Or they lean forward when they hear the price. Right. They'll lean forward. It's funny, but again, when you're in those situations and you get the opportunity to read someone's body language, you'll know where to put that. So again, if somebody is, when we've presented the price in good, better, best, all right, one of the mistakes we could make in presenting these offers, and very important, is not knowing your customer, not knowing their behavior and their habits, their fears, okay, and then trying to push the better on them, all right, when they're in good. Okay, your job at that point is to support them making a decision. All right, so good is still good. It's it's better than anyone else is going to offer you. All right, but you've got to be able to identify when they're in that category, and we don't try to upsell them, because somebody in good, all right, somebody in the good area does not like to be upsold. Has anybody ever had that comment? Not looking to be upsold, right? I just want a good roof. Or I just want a good XYZ, right? It's because their fear is that they're going to pay too much for something, or they're going to get something they don't need, okay? Identifying those things, and this is why you build your offers this way, all right? When you get in front of someone, all right, you can just watch their body language. You can watch subtle signs and the things they say. If you listen carefully enough and watch carefully enough, They'll tell you immediately what they're going towards. Okay. And again, I've been doing it. Well, we've done them so many times that like it's obvious. Our sales reps know immediately. So again, as soon as we get those cues, those signs, our job is to help them make a decision to buy good. All right. We're going to support them on that. We're going to make sure. But we're not going to make the mistake of continuing to push, them into something that, would make them uncomfortable or would cost us the sale. All right. So again, specific person. Not everybody reacts that way, right? So if I don't know who I'm dealing with in the first place and I don't have a target person in mind, all right, this would fall down, right? So I mean, again, the reaction of a young family, for example, is a lot different than somebody that's maybe a baby boomer or a Gen Xer, right? If you don't realize that, I mean, again, you need to get clear on that, right? Because their behavior, their habits, everything are different, okay? But in our group, that's how we tell. If when the spouse looks at each other, all right, we know the price was out of this world. It's not even on this planet. Now we're going to downsell. Or on the other hand, when they don't flinch and they keep holding our sample, all right, we know where they are. They've told us without even saying a word. Okay. So on the other hand, all right, we talk a lot about trust. Okay. They should actually, if you do your job properly and you've thought through your marketing and you've thought through the pieces of how you are presenting your offer, all right, they should already have trust before you even show up. Okay. And there's lots of ways we can do this, but in your proposal as well, all right, very easy. We want reviews, before and after photos, guarantees. All right, these are all trust signals. Okay, and if you're opening up your proposal and they're not there, all right, that's a red flag. That's a problem. Okay, and not only there, but everywhere that you are marketing in any market. Okay, we talked about this last week, so we're not going to get too deep into it. But like again, one of the biggest mistakes that we can make is just giving somebody an estimate or a proposal without anything else. All right, that says that you can trust me. All right, without it coming out of your mouth, of course. Okay. So now, and oddly enough, I talk about this a lot, but a lot of us have a problem asking for business or giving clear next steps. Okay. How many of you guys have thought, hey, I landed the sale for sure, walked out of the house and just never heard from them again? I don't think there'd be a single person here not guilty of that at least once. Right? I know I have. Oh, we got it for sure. And then you as you're driving home, you realize like I never even asked for the business. I never asked for it. Like, and I see it over again. And I didn't give them a clear direction. What happens next? All right. Are they supposed to look at other quotes? Are they like you do this great presentation, you throw the smoke bomb down and you disappear. It's like, all right, now what next? Do you think your customer is confused? Do you think that they were ready to make a decision and maybe, just having those steps and being clear on what they have to do would help them to get further? Absolutely. Most people want to be led. All right. They want to know that you are leading them to a decision. And if you're not, and if your offer isn't capable of doing that, then this is where you want to start to make some improvements. Okay. So it can be as easy as, all right, I'm going to show you some examples, right? We use this like, here's what's going to happen next. If you want to move forward with us, all right, this is what I need from you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and pick our colors. Are you ready to pick your color for your roof? Perfect. Why don't we go ahead and get that out of the way? Right. Next, we're gonna go ahead and sign our agreement. Perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to collect your deposit. Right. And we don't just do it verbally. We're doing it clearly with, if they got the proposal and never even see us, they know what's next, right? We make it easy for them to do it. They can sign that agreement right there. They can pick their colors. They can do all of those things. Speed, right? So again, 70% of homeowners want clear timelines before saying yes. All right. This is another very, very important thing that you want to keep clear to your customers. When can this work be done? And if you didn't ask the question early in your process of when they were looking to have it done, all right, this is where, again, it blows my mind. How does anyone have a sense of urgency? All right. And are you actually out giving people proposals without having any urgency? If somebody's calling me and they're not thinking of getting their roof done till the fall, no problem. Totally understand. Let me follow up with you in the fall. I'm never going to go out to someone's house that's 3 to 6 months down the road. No, unless they have urgency. Right? People only buy when they have urgency. Okay. They're not going to sign up with you now. So again, that's a marketing qualified lead, not a sales qualified lead. Big difference. All right. And again, you know, if you didn't have that urgency to begin with, like, and you're not capable of creating it, all right, people just take their time making these decisions. There's no rush, right? So I bet you if I looked at the majority of your pipelines, I would find probably $500,000, $1 million easily of people that would have gone ahead. We're okay to go ahead. All right. Just no one, there was no push for it. Right. They also didn't know when you could actually do the work. Right. They're left with all of these unsaid or unanswered questions. All right. And all it takes is somebody that knows what they're doing to come and answer those questions, and boom, they've got that contract. All right. So again, think of these things as a checklist. Did I do this? Did the customer know when I could start the work? All right. Do I have a timeline? Does that, like, are you removing any risk? All right. Would they feel safe in taking my offer? All right. Were my offer clear? All right. All very important things to think about, and we'll give you some examples of it in a second. All right. So here's some common mistakes that kill the yes. All right. Overloading with options or technical details. Guys, please understand. All right. When you learned your trade, all right, you learned a whole vocabulary of words that the whole world has no clue what are. All right. Anybody outside of the trade have no idea. Okay, so when as soon as you're saying those things, even to very intelligent people, you've lost them. They could be shaking their head up and down and just like, riding along, but you've lost them. The sales resistance up here, and you're not getting a yes. So think about what you're saying. You should be writing this at a grade 8 level. Okay, you should be speaking clearly at a grade 8 level. All right, it's not insulting. All right, and we don't use technical terms. Throw them out. Get rid of them. Talk about the outcomes. Talk about the benefits. Okay, but don't use technical terms. The second you do that, and especially with intelligent, higher level people, all right, they shut down. You've lost them. Okay, and it's very hard to pull them back and get to that yes. All right, they're gonna have things that they want to review. The more technical, the more logical you make your presentations, and I say logical for a reason. Okay, people make decisions to buy from you emotionally first. All right. And then they justify with their logic. All right. And I want you to think about, look at your proposals, look at the way you're presenting everything, look at the way you are discussing options. All right. And remove anything that's technical that would be too hard to understand. All right. The best example I can give you is I have a 12-year-old niece. All right. When I'm really stuck on something, I will ask her and pitch it to her. And if she doesn't understand it, I'm not doing it. Okay. Again, there's ways to get around, but you literally have to think this way, because that could be the thing that's preventing you from getting that yes. All right. We want to focus on price, or focusing on price and not outcome. One of the number one ways. Okay. Focusing too much on price. And again, guys, when you focus on price, you are signaling to your customer, all right, to focus on price. We're a pack animal. All right. We're designed to follow. All right. So when somebody is overly focused on price, or has not listened carefully enough, and discussed with their customer extensively about saving the money and price this, price of that, you are going to get compared on that. Don't even discuss it. All right. You don't need to discuss it until it becomes an objection. All right. Beyond that, you are presenting the outcome and asking them, how should we proceed? All right. Does outcome 1, 2, or 3, which door should we proceed? Which one are you most interested in, moving forward with? Okay. Forgetting the proof or trust signals. Again, if someone does not trust you, and this can happen in a lot of ways, not only are you going to get objections, all right, that aren't accurate, so they can object to your price. They can object to, needing more time to think about it, when the whole time was, you don't look different than anyone else. All right. And I don't trust you. That's all it could be the whole time. All right. So again, if you can get these logical things out of the way. So I love to send, buyers packages and capability statements and information before we show up. All right. Other ways to build trust. Show them your face in your emails. Send them a video if you want to get really, technical. right? You could send them an introductory video letting them know who you are, okay? Your brand, your reviews, okay? Your last jobs. All of this builds trust, okay? Knowing the neighbor. If you've been working in that community, that's probably your best way in. Yeah, you know, working with so-and-so and having a, you know, a case study. All right. You want to work in the same neighborhood. You want to leapfrog from customer to customer. They still need to know that trust. You got to have that proof of trust. And the more it can be on things, the less people will think in the back of their mind that I can't trust this person. So 60% of jobs are lost due to unclear offers, not price. 60% unclear offers and not price. Okay. Now you could get a price objection. All right. But listen to what I'm saying. It's an unclear offer, meaning they would have paid more if they thought that the value was higher. All right. Your price was probably not the problem. All right. It was how much they trust you and how clear they were about your offer. Okay. So let's talk about some quick wins that we can use this week. All right. I want you to rewrite your main offer headline as a promise. Okay. So right there on your proposal, what does it say? Front page. What do you promise to give to your customer? What is your promise to your customer? Right? Make it clear, but be it the first thing they see when you open up or they open up your email or your proposal. If you're doing one call close, have it on your logos. Like, make your promise clear. Okay, this is the easiest thing to fix. All right, you can even put it at the bottom of your email chain so that there's no confusion on the promise you make to your customer. All right, and it should be universal for anybody that's working with you. Right? We want to add one trust signal. What's that?
What is your promise to in your offers?
A forever metal roof and peace of mind. Yep, it's right there, right on my. I'll show you right on my front page. Right, it's right there, like before their name and everything. Right. Right. So again, we want to add a trust signal to every proposal. Okay, so every proposal should have, you know, past jobs, before and afters. These are really easy to create nowadays. I'll show you a whole bunch of examples of them when we're done here. All right, we want to draft our good, better, best options or services. Again, there are exceptions to this, guys. There are, you know, depending on what kind of services you're doing. All right, you don't have to use good, better, best, but add-ons. You know, if you're doing home services, all right. Obviously, you know, some situations we're not going to offer a good, better, best, but we could add a maintenance program or a maintenance service, something to add on, some way to keep in touch with them or to keep involved. There's a lot of ways you can spin your offer. So I want you to think beyond the good, better, best. I'm just using it for a structure. Okay. You want to add a no surprise section to your next quote. Okay. One of the easiest things to do is to recognize that you get asked the same questions, the same 10 questions over and over again, don't you? Right? So why not put them in your proposal? They're just FAQs, right? Want to get really creative? Do videos for them. Right there, right in your proposal. All the FAQs, all the questions that they would have. You know, if you want to take it a step further, you give them checklists, right? I have a checklist in mind that's 27 things they should ask any contractor, all right, that they're considering doing business with you, rather. Right? Here's the things that you should look for. I help them make that decision. Okay, that's right there in my proposal. Like, ask me while we're presenting it. Right? Do I have these things? I want to leave there with absolute clarity that they can trust me and that there's no risk to working with me and that I can truly provide speed, convenience, and peace of mind. Okay? These are easy things to do. Right, guys, you can go to ChatGPT, you can use them up. Again, something done is better than perfect at this point. All right, I'd like to see you guys take some sort of action on these things if you don't have them. Is there anybody by any, just out of curiosity, anybody here that has those things on their proposal right now or in their offer? Has all of those things? No? Okay. So this should be a very, very easy, an easy, quick win for you. By even adding one or two of these things, all right, you're going to see a significant change. All right. Just add any, like 2 or 3 of those things and you'll see a significant change in how people are viewing your business, even how they're having conversations, and how many more yeses you get versus nos. Okay, so like to share a quick success story with you. We worked with Smith Renovations, who focus primarily on remodels. We built 3 packages and added before and after photos, and just a 2-year guarantee. Great. Close rate jumped from 28% to 54% in 90 days. That's all we did. Nothing more, nothing less. All right. No change in their presentation. They were great at presenting. All right. That was all that we did in their proposals, is made those packages, right? Gave them those offers, helped their salespeople present those a little bit better. All right. And boom, 54%. Okay. How many of you guys would have an entirely different business right now if you changed nothing, all right, except for these 3 things, and seen a 20 something percent increase in sales? Right? But would that solve a lot of problems for you? Maybe you could even lower that and get a 30% closing ratio by raising your price 10%. Then you would have to do 33% less work, wouldn't you? Right? So again, another really quick win that's totally doable nowadays, all right, is we want to interview a happy client and add their quote to your next proposal. So I have actual client video reviews in my proposal, right? Again, a little bit more advanced, but like the trust signals are there, right? No one has to wonder if I'm capable of doing the work or not, right? And it's not coming out of my mouth or my salespeople's mouths. We don't do that, all right? Because no one, unfortunately, we are in the post-trust era. Nobody trusts anybody, all right? Anything coming out of your mouth, just automatically assume your customer thinks it's bullshit. Okay, I promise your sales will get better. Don't tell people, prove it. Okay, don't say it, prove it. Put it right there where they can see it. Okay, if you've had a good customer experience, capture that on video. That is worth 100 written reviews. Okay, and we put them right in our proposals that they can just hit the button and watch the video. Okay, you don't know how many times we get these things signed back, and when we're running the project with them, they're bringing up how they were so impressed with us and the reviews. And again, these are very, very simple plays if you want to start to increase your sales and improve your offer. Okay. All right. So we want to list one service you could drop or focus on your flagship. All right. So again, a lot of times, all right, is when we offer too many services. Okay. And notice I said services. I want you to think about your flagship offer. What is it? And we've been through what an offer is today. I hope no one's leaving here confused on what your offer is. Okay. But what are the services that you don't need to make in that offer? Okay. Again, I'll give you an example. We don't offer the services of shingles. Not that we can't do them. All right. We did them for a lot of years very profitably. All right. We just don't offer it because the customer that we're looking to do business with isn't interested in them. Okay, those 2 guys don't hang out together. All right, we don't downsell to shingles either. Okay, we have no reason to. It's a totally different thing. Same family of stuff, but like I only do metal roofing because I'm a specialist at that. That's what I do. Okay, that's my flagship. Okay, now do I offer other things that are part of scope? Yeah, of course. We do flat roofs, we do aluminum, we do a whole bunch of other services, but not unless they bought the flagship, and that's the metal. Okay, beyond that, absolutely, I can add things in. Okay, and so can you. As a general contractor, your flagship could be, again, I'm not doing renovations under 250,000, and I'm only going to work with this type of customer because they have a problem I can solve. They want luxury, right? They want, custom finishes, right? They want high-end millwork. Okay, well, that's not the same person that's okay with a IKEA kitchen from, IKEA, right? Like those are not, like, you shouldn't even be, in that same conversation. Okay, your offer won't work with that audience, that group. Okay, so again, a lot of times we need to drop the services. Right, the services that aren't making us money, just get rid of them. You won't miss them. Okay, it won't hurt you, I promise. All right. So how many of you guys offer more than 5 services here? How many guys here? Feel free to unmute yourself too. We're getting to the end, so
We
I want to
only
make
offer
sure.
two, kitchen and bathroom remodels.
Awesome. Okay. You offer 2 services. Anybody else offering more than 2 services or
We
5 services?
offer every service on the planet, it seems like.
Okay.
I'm joking, of course, because I need to learn to say no better to people.
We're trying to teach you that for sure, right?
Yes.
No, no is the most profitable word in your vocabulary. Okay. So again, what I want to emphasize here is that, having 5 services, all right, or 5 things that you do is fine if it's under one offer. Okay. So like think about your offer. What is it? In a kitchen remodel, for example, is there more than 5 services being completed? Of
Yeah,
course.
a
Of
lot,
course.
a lot more.
Right. Right. But your offer should only be that flagship. I am an expert, kitchen remodeler. I am an expert large scale renovation remodeler. I am an expert builder. Okay. Until people can immediately recognize, and you have such low attention span these days, if they don't immediately identify that you can solve their problem or that your communication, your marketing is pointing them to that direction, all right, you risk being put in that category of, price shopper, right? Or
Should I
forever
take all
living
of
on
the social
referrals.
media pics that don't have to do with kitchen remodels? Because I mean, we did a lot of jobs in the past, and they're all still there. Should I delete all those pics that don't have to do anything with kitchen and baths?
I would say yes. Again, if I were working with you and that you told me that, hey, you know what? I want to do nothing other than kitchen remodels for the rest of my career, and I'm going to build an empire business over this that was something that a big venture capital is going to buy. All right, and I'm going to be all over the states as a franchise. Okay, go look at those companies.
I'm gonna be all over the
Is it
states.
clear? Is it clear what they do? Is it clear who they help?
Yes.
Yes, 100%. Okay, and
I'm curious about.
there is no confusion. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Um,
No, no.
so I'm curious about your take when it comes to this for my particular business. So I do flooring. I'm a flooring guy,
Yep. I love
and
flooring.
yeah, me too, man. I'm passionate. Well, I actually hate flooring except for tile, but anyway. Um,
Huh.
so I'm a flooring contractor, but I'm a tile specialist.
Okay.
And when I started my business, it was Gen 2 flooring, and I did all types of flooring. Now, I
Yeah.
still do all types of flooring, all hard surface, no carpet, no sheet vinyl, nothing like that, all hard surface flooring. Um, but I've niched down in my marketing to
Hmm.
tile specialists and custom tile showers. That's what I market. That's what I push. If you go
Okay.
to my website, flooring is just a other services page. It's not my
Yep.
specialty. It's not what I push. Is that what you mean by a flagship? So my flagship would be
100%. You
tile
nailed it.
specialist
So
and custom showers.
absolutely.
Okay.
So exactly. So again, it's okay to have other services because you're going to downsell to them, right? Like you're not going to walk away from, a flooring opportunity, and you might be able to offer, let's say that you want to offer a laminate flooring, all right, as a downsell that's in your good, all right, or whatever carpet, whatever you want to offer in that category, all right, that's fine, all right. It's still part of your offer, but your primary is going to be we do hard surface flooring, right? And the marketing that brought that person in, that needs to be their primary like problem they're solving, right? That's the specific problem. Okay. Now, after you've engaged with them, all right, and let's say they absolutely can't, afford or it's not the right application, it's wise to have something you can downsell them. And also you want to have that good there to kind of turn them off a little bit, right? Because nobody just wants good, right? When you're
Yeah.
comparing a Honda Civic to a Lamborghini, all right, that's the point I'm trying to make, right? Like there's a certain brand of people that just want the good, but if your marketing's pointing them towards
Reading this in
the
my
Lamborghini,
paper,
you're
Greg,
gonna
I really
you're
like
gonna
the picture.
attract less people.
Greg, if
Oh,
you were to read
hold on
through
a
the
second.
picture using my logo, comma, where would you put it?
What? Hold on. So yeah, let me just finish that thought with you for a second,
Hmm.
right? So again, you want your marketing all to say that primary flagship thing that you're going to get, because 9 times out of 10,
Yeah.
you're going to get that person coming in that you want to do business with. Okay.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is that tile is where my money's at, and tile's where my
Okay.
passion is at. So even though I'm Gen 2 flooring, tile is specifically, like, if you look me up on Google, the first thing you're going to see is tile specialist, not flooring installer. It's a tile
Gotcha.
specialist. And then
Y-
I can't tell you how many times somebody's called me and said, "Hey, I know you're a tile specialist, but do you happen to do vinyl flooring?" And then I can
mhm.
say, "Well, yeah, I can service you as well, because I am a flooring company. I just specialize in tile." So,
Right.
it's a marketing technique for that specific offer. So I just wanted to see if I was being concise enough with
Yeah.
specializing in tile, but I offer other flooring as well.
Yeah, and eventually you'll get to the point that like I was just sharing with you. Like we used to do, we had almost a $6 million business that just did shingles, right? Within our big thing, and we dropped them, and it was one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make. And everyone thought I was crazy, right? Like we literally laid off half our company and dropped a profitable, shingles market. And the reasons for it were simple as this, right? Like I was making money, right? But I was spending 80 hours a week doing it. I was tied to the business, right? And I wasn't passionate about it. I didn't care about shingles because no one cares about shingles, right? A roof's a roof, nothing special, right? So like you're dealing with a different brand of customer, and the biggest thing was I had to deal with shinglers, and I didn't want to deal with them anymore, right? They didn't care about their job. They're just drunks and fall downs, and like that didn't represent who I was and where I wanted to go. And like I said, it's not the customer that I wanted to call, the specific person that I wanted to do business with and that I knew I could. And you're going to find the same thing. All right. Like eventually you'll learn to just say no, because all I have to do is increase my marketing. All right. And get really good at that and understand my ROI for that marketing. And then, you become more of a sales marketing company and less a contractor. Right.
So you're saying that if it's the direction I want to go, is to to fully do tile, not do any other type of flooring. Then if
100%.
that's the direction I want to go, then eventually get to the point to where I don't even accept other projects. But
Well,
see,
let's just
here's
put
the
it in, let's put it in
here,
perspective for a second.
yeah,
Okay. Let's take a 20-kilometer radius around you.
yeah,
Okay. Could you ever do all the tile work in that 20-kilometer radius?
right.
Okay.
No,
So
yeah,
again,
yeah,
we forget this. We've never been in a more abundant time and place ever. And don't let anybody or any news convince you any other, like, which way. If you want to like specialize in hair and bone tile, and that's all you're going to do, I promise you could. You could be the absolute specialist and run a really decent business just doing that one type of tile. All right. Now, what it would require, all right, is you looking at your offer and looking at your business differently. You have to think like a sales and marketing company, all right, and less of a contractor. Okay. When you can make that division, you'll understand that as a sales marketing company and as a CEO, all right, it doesn't matter what I'm selling. It really doesn't. Like, again, it doesn't matter. Right? The principles are the same. There's only two ways you grow a business: sales and marketing. All right. The better your marketing is, the better your sales is, the more your business is going to grow. All right. Now,
yep.
obviously, we have to be able to produce it. All right. But again, if that's where your money is, be a specialist. You drop everything else. Just say no, because it's a waste of time, and you will never be good at it enough to make it make sense. All right. If your heart's not in it and your like zone of genius isn't, okay, it's just like anything in your business, right? If you don't like doing accounting, don't just do it because you can. All right, because it'll never be done at the level you need to have it done with the consistency. Same with your marketing, same with your offers. So I would highly recommend that you do become a tile specialist. And again, in my eyes, that's a marketing thing, right? If I need more leads,
Yeah.
I know which levers to pull. I know what my return is. All right, and it's I just get better at the sales, more systemized, and there you go. You've got tile jobs every single day,
Yeah, yeah. Cool.
right? Hey, CJ, I seen that you had a question there. Oh, you still there? You gotta unmute
No,
yourself.
I was hitting the unmute button. Sorry. No, I got it covered.
Gotcha.
I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
Can
What's
I
what's
get a
your question?
question in?
Go for it, CJ.
Just the same thing. It's very similar concern about specializing and trying to break out of the pattern for so long of being the answer of every question, being everything to
Right.
everyone, and
Mhm.
coming from a place of scarcity is
Yep.
where I think I'm having a hard time trying to narrow down, what it is that we do. Right now, we focus on interior remodeling, and although we say we do
Mhm.
interior remodeling, and although we specialize in kitchens and bathrooms, there isn't much inside a house on the interior of a house that we wouldn't be a good fit for. So
Okay.
it's hard to say. Yeah, but like I say, even
Yeah.
even I
So
mentioned to you before that even breaking it down to interior remodeling is already narrowing it down a good bit for us. So
mhm.
I'm still
The,
working on that.
so here's the other way to kind of visualize it. All right. So remember the specific person. All right. So is the guy that's driving, the Mercedes Benz that's living in the $4 million house have the same problem as the guy driving the Honda Civic living in the $300,000 house?
No.
Okay, so how could you offer an outcome, all right, that doesn't fit, right? So again, less about what the specific services is, right? You could easily say, I am a high-end remodeler, all right, that works for, X, Y, and Z, right? The specific person, okay? And we offer luxury, turnkey services, right?
Okay.
That would bring you to a point where you would say, hey, if a job is under $90,000 or $100,000, I'm just not interested in it. All right. And again, when you start to draw those lines, especially nowadays, like you got to understand, like, when I started out, like we were still using, like real mail and like, to do my follow-ups, and like there wasn't any ads or, any of that kind of stuff yet. Like what was the phone book? You know what I mean? Like that was it. Like that's how you competed. We're way, way past that point now where there's so many opportunities and people are so easy to target that we got to get more and more into what we want, like what we know we're going to be specialized in. And again, start looking at your profits. Start looking at what is easy for you to produce. And more importantly, what could be produced without you being there. All right. Not even what you like doing, because that gets the water dirtied as well. Like if you're really good at it, all right, that doesn't mean anything. Can you
That
actually
doesn't
sell
help
it as an offer?
if
It
I'm trying
hurts
to get
you.
off the tools, then it really doesn't help me.
100%. It hurts you. Like, and again, like we've been talking about, I'm a recovering yes man. I spent the first, decade of my career just saying yes to everything and trying it all. And like, I mean, the horror and the hell that I went through. I mean, I have like real world trauma from it. I don't remember a whole decade of my life. It was that terrible. All right. And again, from a business perspective, like, there's nothing more of being a prisoner. It's probably why I do this. It's my therapy, right? But again, I truly know what it feels like to be trapped and like, working really hard and not succeeding. All right. And a lot of it came back to me, myself. All right. I had to look at myself in the mirror and go, what is it that I'm trying to, please here, right? Because the truth is, all right, when we want to help people, that's how I think we all become contractors in one way or another. We want to make money or whatever it may be. All right. The real skill of moving yourself into a profitable contractor and a profitable CEO is recognizing those ties that you have that no longer serve you. All right. So saying, maybe that you did service, right? Maybe you were a handyman. Maybe you did like those kind of things. That's not getting you to where you want to be. So you have to change that position. You have to say no to anything, even though it feels right. It's hard
It
to turn
does.
away. It's hard. Like
It,
I still
if
like literally, if when someone asks me about a shingle roof, in my head, immediately it's like, yep, I could do that. And then like the next one like slaps the shit out of him and goes, no, no, you're not doing that. Right. And I have to be disciplined and continue to say no, because I know that at the end of the day, sure, I could do it. Sure, like I have the skills, I have the knowledge, I have the resources even. Okay. But I don't need it. And I don't want the aggravation. I don't want the variable in my business.
I think
Okay.
that it's clear where we want to go, but another thing that probably keeps me from narrowing our services further, like you said, and even going into a higher end, is that a lot of the people that we've worked for in the past and people that still refer us today will probably no longer be our our people,
And
you know.
and here's the beautiful thing, and I'm, again, CJ, I'm glad to be on the journey with you. When you start to market, okay, that attachment, it changes very quickly because all of a sudden, all right, you can pick your customer. When you've survived off of referrals and you've survived off of word of mouth and all of those things, it does something to you, okay? It takes away your advantage of being able to say no. All right. And again, it's not wrong, but it's a development, right? So when you start to move to actually marketing, and again, who here believes their phone listens to them? Who here says something and all of a sudden it pops up in your ads, right? Like look at where we are with advertising these days. Okay, like literally, I as a marketer, I can target bald men in the city of Baltimore. Okay, and that's all I'm gonna be dealing with. Like it's really like within a certain degree, like that's how you can make that demand. And the point I'm trying to make here is like when we design an offer for a person or a type of person or a group of people, all right, our business and our life is going to be enormously better. All right, instead of trying to build an offer around a person that isn't necessarily looking for what you have. Okay, there's a big difference there. Does that make sense?
It does to me, absolutely. I mean,
Right?
it's a great another great example of what happened last week with trying to sell to people who wanted something, like
Hmm.
I know we talked about it. I was trying to sell them a Mercedes and they were looking for a used Hyundai.
Yep. And it happens all the time, right? So again, like as you start to, implement some of these things, you're going to find that it's very easy to identify what people want. Very easy, like to know where they got it. And like this is where you get the no resistance, yes. All right. You don't even have to be that great at sales. To be honest with you, if you have a really great offer, all right, a good offer, all right, will scale in any climate, any situation. Like again, the reason I'm sitting here with everyone here today is because I've put enough time and effort into my offer, not my sales, not my marketing, not like everything else that we put ahead. All right, I fixed the offer. The offer, all right, works, and it'll scale with shitty marketing. I know because we all start off with shitty marketing. It scales, it grew, all right, it continues to grow. All right. On the other hand, the best marketing in the world won't help a shitty offer. All right. It doesn't matter and again, we can accustom that to sales or whatever you want. You can blame whatever, point your finger at it. But like most 90% of the people we work with and that we come in contact with, all right, are dealing with very similar issues, CJ, where we're in our head. All right. But they haven't developed the offer yet. All right. And they haven't got conviction around, offering this one thing. All right. And they don't, again, some of us don't recognize just how abundant the world is and how much opportunities around all of us all the time. Okay. Like, again, nobody could ever manage to fulfill the amount of opportunities. So it's just a matter of getting yourself in front of those people more often and being very specialized. All right. And then things become easier. And like I said, simple scales. All right. We want to add less variables to our business. It's not about being able to do all these things. It's about having two or three things that you're really good at, that you make really good money at, that you can have an unfair advantage over anyone else trying to do those things. Right? And you focus on those. And again, it's boring. I run a very boring business. It was so boring I had to go get a new business and start all over again. All right. Like you come into J Carter Roofing, like nothing new happens. Okay. It's the same shit over and over and over every day. We're very profitable. I don't have to babysit. Like it's the same shit. Okay. Nothing exciting. All right. Learn to run a boring business. Cool. Any other questions before we wrap this up, guys? Anything else I can help you with? Okay. If anybody's looking to get any help, even just to have a chat about their offer or to go through what it is that we can do to help you, feel free to book a call with us. or get in touch with us. Again, we love to have those chats. We will I'll throw my link in the chat, and everyone have a wonderful day. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
I'll
Good
let
time,
them in.
man.
Yeah.